Good morning, my brothers and sisters. Welcome to episode 28 and Be With Me in the book of 1 Timothy. We're nearing the end. We're in chapter 6. The title of today, Fly, You Fools. As you may remember, JRR Tolkien in the Fellowship of the Ring, in the first of the trilogy, in the final battle where Gandolf and his little group of dwarves and stuff was at the bridge, and there's this gigantic demonic creature on the other side. He's with the orcs, and Gandalf says, "You cannot pass." And then Gandalf lifts his staff and he stomps it onto the bridge, and the bridge is destroyed. And this gigantic flaming demonic creature called the Balrog, I might be mispronouncing that, falls, and the bridge crashes into this huge gulf, this big abyss, and the Balrog plunges down, and it kind of looks like evil has been defeated, but at the last moment, this fiery whip reaches up and envelops Gandalf's leg, and he staggers and he falls, and then Gandalf slides into the abyss. In his final words, as he is yanked down to the abyss, is, "Fly, you fools," he cries, and then he was gone. And similarly, Paul here is writing to Timothy, the younger, not as wise guy, less experienced, like a father to his son. And he's telling him that there are certain things that need to be fled from before you can pursue other things. And he says to them, this is for you. And he calls him a man of God. And he says, flee bad teaching and bad doctrine and bad personal habits and bad temptations. Escape them, shun them, take flight from certain things. Why? Why do we run? Well, so that we can pursue other things, godliness and righteousness and faith, and that we live another day to fight the good fight and take hold of the eternal life. So the subtext of this little speech that Paul is going to give to Timothy is, hey, I care enough about you to tell you the truth. I want the best for you. This is serious stuff. There's some desperation, I think, in his voice. Maybe I don't have much time left, but certainly there's an urgency to this. The previous context was we have some people with bad desires and bad craving and loving the wrong thing, idolatry even, which has caused them to pierce themselves, shipwreck themselves, pierce themselves with many pangs, and some have wandered away from the faith. So this couldn't be more serious. Here it is in 1 Timothy chapter 6, verse 11. But as for you, O man of God, flee these things. That's where I get fly, you fools. Flee these things. Pursue righteousness, godliness, faith, love, steadfastness, gentleness. Fight the good fight of faith. Take hold of the eternal life to which you were called, and about which you made the good confession in the presence of many witnesses. So I like what Paul does here. First of all, he says, I'm contrasting you, but I see you as different than these who have not made the cut. I see you as called. I see you as mature. I see you as obeying. I see you as working and being a competent Christian. And what a compliment this is from Paul to Timothy. Imagine being a young man hearing that he calls you, oh man of God, I see you in this way. I see you. I see this call to full manliness. I charge you to this identity. And this is who you are. You, oh man of God, don't forget, don't deny it, don't fall short of it. And I see you in this even before you see you in this way, oh man of God. Then he says, flee these things. That's where I'm getting the fly, you fools. So a certain percentage of the spiritual life in Christianity, let's say 50% for today, is fleeing. It's running from something. Why? So that you can run to something. Like a parent would say to a child, never operate with two things together, matches and gasoline, or never drink and drive, or don't ever inject cocaine into your veins. Why would a parent say this to a child? Well, so that you can be free to live a robust life. And so the idea is you flee certain things so that you are free to run to the blessings of the good stuff. And he describes it as righteousness, faith, love, steadfastness. So you flee so that you are free to follow after, so that you are free to fight. So get free so that you can grasp. So he says, Paul is saying to Timothy, some things you just got to hightail it away from. So why? So that you can hunt for love and faith and righteousness, so that you can take hold of eternal life, so that you can hit back in the fight of faith. So you got to run from some stuff so that you can run to gentleness and retain the life of God and react in the struggle. So I love this part of this verse where Paul sees Timothy as a beautiful, mature, tenacious person, oh man of God. He calls him to it. I see you in a way that you might not even see yourself quite yet. And he wants him to be free to follow and fight and be a Christian of liberty. And he wants him to be aware that there are certain things that can entangle the man of God. So maybe that's your zipper, purity. Maybe that's porn. Maybe it's love of money. Maybe it's power. Maybe it's using your tongue that wreaks habits. Or maybe it's the appetites that you have. You have to flee certain things. Why? So that you can be how I see you, which is free to fight, free to be faithful, free to take hold of the life of God, free to be spiritually victorious. So what might you, dear listener, need to flee? What might you need to take flight of? What might you need to listen to the words of Paul and Gandolf, where he says, fly, take flight and flee from them, so that you can be free to pursue something. So let's, like Gandalf, listen to the words of Paul. Basically, fly, you fools. Flee these things, Paul says. So run away from certain things so that you can run to. And flee so that you can be free to pursue. The word today, kind of from the Bible and also from Gandalf, fly, you fools.